All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I'm coming to you with the ending of the program for Chapter 6, kind of the program from hell, which is the calculator program. And it's got stuff in there, and we'll be able to keep working on this and fixing it and refining it as we go on. But I want to go back and just go over everything that's in here. All right, I want to go through the whole program, and I'm going to write comments, which I hope will help. All right, so this will be validate that text box 1, which is operand 1, is not empty. So that's going to call a routine to make sure that that isn't empty. What is that doing? Well, notice I'm passing a parameter in, the number 1. That's representing which text box I'm checking. All right? So when I come in here, that becomes op. I don't know why, but it's op. And if it's a 1, then I say if there's nothing in text box 1, we want to call show message and say operand 1 cannot be empty. And we break. Okay? If instead of passing in a 1, we passed in a 2 right there, then we're going to make the same check with saying if operand 2 is empty. Now, operand 2 is actually this one. So that's operand 1, that's operand 2. All right? So I'm validating here that text box 1 is not empty. Okay? Then I'm validating the text box 1 is numeric. Now, I just did this in order, and I didn't have to do it in this order. But here, now I'm validating that text box 2, which is my operator, holds either a plus sign, a minus sign, a multiply sign, a divide sign, or a modulo sign. If it's empty or it doesn't hold one of those, it'll be invalid. So when I check on the valid operator, notice I'm passing nothing in there. And I'm saying if it's not one of these, if not a plus, minus, multiply, divide, or modulo. So if it's not one of these, I call the message. And I'll want to return false here. Now I'm going back and I want to look at this. So let's see. And here we also said red val is false. Here we said red val is false, and we return red val. Okay, so what we have done right here is we first validate that there's something in text box 1. If there is, we validate that what we put into text box 1 is numeric. If that is, then again we keep going. So we want to validate that text box 2 holds one of these things. And in all these cases, if it doesn't, we just return. Then we want to validate that text box 3, which is our operand 2, is not empty. And we also want to validate that it is numeric. So if we get down all the way to here, we know, oops, no, that's fine. Text box 1, which is operand 1, is not empty. We also know that text box 2, which is our operator, is either a plus sign, a minus sign, a multiply sign, a divide sign, or a modulus. We also know that text box 3, which is operand 2, is not empty and is numeric for both of these. So I'm calling perform the operation because I've got valid values in all 3 of my text box input fields. All right. So I call perform the operation here. So in other words, I want to perform either the addition, the subtraction, the multiplication, the division, or the modulo. It has to be one of those. All right. So this method verifies that op, which is a 1 if it is text box 1, which is also operand 1, or 2 if it is text box 3, which is operand 2, is not empty. So that's what that's doing. So here, empty. Call show error message. Okay. So if that's the case, not only do I want to do that, but I want to, well, there's nothing to remove, but I can still say txt operand 1.text equals double quote, and I want to make sure the focus is there. All right. Now I'm going to end up repeating some code because I want to do it here too, but here I want to do 2. But here I'm doing the same thing. So I could write another routine that would only have 2 lines in it. All right, if I wanted to do that. And this has got to be a 2, and this has got to be a 2. But I've just decided not to do it that way. All right, so if it's an invalid operator, I also want to clear this out. So txt operator.text equals double quote, and txt operator.focus. All right, so I'm down to perform the operation. And hopefully it should make sense. All right, so this first thing will convert value in text box 1 to a double. And I don't have to check it because I already previously did do that. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to convert the value in text box 3 to a double. All right. Now I want to switch on whatever was in that operator. Now I don't have to do it like this. I could have set a variable equal to that, but this should be either a plus sign, meaning I want to add the two, a minus sign, meaning I want to subtract, a multiply, meaning I want to multiply, a divide symbol, meaning I want to divide, or a modulus symbol, meaning I want to do the modulo. If it's none of those, I'm just going to break. Now, it is going to put answer in here on this case. If there's nothing in there, then the answer should just be 0. And I can make it 0.0 if I want. It doesn't really matter. After I've done the operation, answer now should hold the answer. Clear will clear out all 4 of the text boxes and set the focus back. So clear out all 4 text boxes and then set the focus back to the first text box. Here's add, it just returns N1 plus N2. Here's subtract, N1 minus N2. Here's multiply, N1 times N2. Now modulo and divide are a little different. I want to check, and if for some reason I passed in a 0, rather than doing a divide like that that'll break the system, I just return 0 in both of these cases. Otherwise, I do the multiply or I do the modulo. Exit is just exit. Here's my show message that I wrote. All right, now it is just about done. And again, I've added a lot of comments and stuff in here, and it is upwards of 300 lines. All right, the more complex the program gets, the more you must document, the more you must document. Typically, it's because the more code you're adding, and that will make the program get bigger and bigger and bigger, for lack of better words. All right, so let's take a quick look. So File, Save All, and let's run it. First, let's leave out, in number 1, no input. Operand 1 cannot be empty. All right, so we'll put something in there. Operand 2 or operand 1 not numeric. Okay, so let's put a number in there. Operand 2 cannot be empty. Well, that's interesting because I didn't think it would go to that one next. I thought it would go to this one. That's breaking, so you can already tell there's a problem right there. So, again, the program is not yet complete. So we came in here, case 1, for the not numeric, case 2, there's an error. That should have been a 2. That's the problem that you run into when you use a lot of copy and paste. All right, so we are calling first operand 1, not empty, operand, try it again. Operand 1, not empty, operand 1 numeric. And we should be calling this valid operator. So let's check. If there's nothing in here, it should say operand 1 is empty, and it does. If it's non-numeric, it should say operand 1 is not numeric, and it does. Here, now it shouldn't be going down to operand 2 cannot be empty. Let me just put a value in here. Okay, it's not catching this code in here for it to check my, so something is wrong. Okay, that's pretty obvious. So, is keep going equals is valid operator. So where is valid operator? Looks like it's now spelled correctly. So let's keep looking. So this is not being called for whatever reason. So if keep going equals is valid operator. Let's return. If keep going, that actually looks correct. So let's look at is valid operator again. If it's not this and it's not this, and it's not this, and it's not that, and it's not that. That's the first thing, so that was wrong. I don't think that's going to fix the problem though, but we'll see. So let's save. So run it again. The empty works. The non-numeric works. Good, that was the problem. So operator must be one of those. So if I put in, it's got to be one of those. So let's just put in a plus sign. Now operand 2 cannot be empty. Operand 2 not numeric. And there's still something broken there. And again, where's the problem? All right, double num2 equals convert. And it says the input string was not in the correct format. Well, that means something was screwed up there. So let's look. Usually, okay, so I'm looking here. Operand 2, 2, 2. That usually means I put in a 1 where I should have put in a 2 or vice versa. 2, 2, 2, 2. That looks correct. All right, so it could be up here. So here we're checking else return. Else return. Looks like it should be working. Here we go. If not, keep going. Return. That should fix it. Yes. So let's try that one more time. So nothing in here. I get the error cannot be empty. Non-numeric. I get the error that it's got not numeric. There. Get it. It must be one of these. Again, I get the error. It must be one of those. All right. This cannot be empty. Good. This has to be numeric. And it works. And 30 times 12 is 360 plus 48 is 408. If I change that to a plus, that should be, to a plus, that should be 46. If I change it to a minus, that should be 22. If I change it to a divide, I did it to 2 decimal places, it should be about 2.7 or something like that, 2.83, okay. If I modulo it, it should be, I think, 8, 10. Yeah, 10. So every operation now works. Clear works, exit works. Well, that was a very long program, and in our perform operation, what are we doing in here? Again, I'm doing a switch based on whatever I entered in there, the plus sign or the minus sign or the multiply sign or the divide sign or the modulo sign. So I know now I have valid numbers, so I'm converting what was in here from what was in the first text box to a double and the third. And I know I've got a valid operator. So this is answer. This is the local variable that I'm making. And I'm saying answer equals add, and I'm passing in number 1 and number 2. I didn't have to do this, but then I would have constantly inside of each one of these been doing a convert. And I thought it was simpler to do it this way. All right, and there's the subtract, there is the multiply, there is the divide, there is the modulo, and if it's default, we're not doing anything. And in each one of these routines, the add just returns number 1 plus number 2, the subtract number 1 minus number 2, the multiply number 1 times number 2, and as I said, the kind of different ones are the divide and the modulo. So this should be returning 0. So I did not check that yet. So let's come in here and put a 23, and we'll put in a divide by 0. And this should return a 0 right here. And it does. Now I could do some finagling with it and make it so we put in there illegal divide or something like that. Let's change this to 56 and modulo and 0, and we should get the same thing, and we do. So that was a lot longer than I planned on having it be, but that is everything for this particular programming example. And this is part 2 this is the explanation of the program. So in the next chapter, we will talk about how to handle exceptions. So far, I've done chapters 1 through 6. I hope tomorrow to get done with 7, 8, and 9. 7 is on exceptions. 8 is on arrays. That is a very long chapter. 9 is on working with dates and strings. Once I get done with those, and then 10 and 11, which are fairly short, then I'll be done pretty much with the first half of the book. All right, I'll be done with section 1 and section 2. This is the hardest one. It'll take the most time to do. This won't take too much time, and this will take a bit of time also. So I'm hoping to get done with all of this stuff by no later than the end of July, just so you have some kind of an idea. So far we've done that much. 6 out of 22, which is about 27% of the chapters. All right, I'll see you soon with the next chapter.